Alright. What's up, everybody? We have a replay of REYNOR in the bottom left up against SERRAL in the top right. And it is so special whenever these two play. Now, you might be wondering, is this what tournament? Is this a finals? Is this the World Championship? No! This is actually a game which was played on the ladder. These two ran into each other. The two guys are up there at 7,400 MMR. And I managed to get this replay after hearing that it was a little bit of a duel. A little bit of a battle, an exceptional one. I have no idea what happens in it, but I managed to get this replay out of these two players, and I've heard that it's a good one, and it's always exciting when they play. And what for me is especially interesting is this was played right before the King of Battles finals. I'm pretty darn sure it was like 2 or 3 days before the King of Battles tournament either kicked off or the finals of that. So it was sometime in the week leading up. And obviously these guys don't play that regularly on the ladder, but when they do play, especially in the lead up to a big tournament where obviously we all know what happened in the King of Battles grand finals where they faced off, I'm wondering what the hell went on ladder in the week up to it, and how did that affect the mind games? Because every time we're watching, even me as an expert StarCraft, caster, analyst, whatever, there's so much I don't understand what's going on. And that's because I don't see the hundreds and thousands of games being played in the top of Grandmaster on the ladder that are informing all of their decision making, right? There's a lot of things which should be good in StarCraft, and you're like, why don't pros ever do it? And the thing is, they did do it for a while. And then all the other top pros got really good at countering it and shutting it down. And they decided, yeah, this isn't worth doing anymore. And we never even get to see it in tournaments because that happened in a 1 or 2 week period in between tournaments, and we just never get to see it, right? So whenever you get to see this sort of ladder games in between, there's a lot of like figuring out what works, what doesn't work, what do I think is a good play, what do I think is a bad play, and my eyes are glued to the screen to see what lessons these players are learning from each other. You can see so far, very standard play. They've both just pulled a single worker off their gas and are moving out to take a third. So this is about as straightforward as possible ZvZ play. We used to call this the EU, or we do call, I call this the EU macro version play. Essentially, it's what SERRAL is the one who popularized it, right? In the early days of the REYNOR-SERRAL rivalry, when REYNOR was in his first year of being allowed to compete because he turned 16 and was allowed to play the WCS circuit it was back then, he actually was very kind of tricky. He was always rushing mutas, going for cheeky speedling floods, all-ins. He was rushing Nidus. Like, it was just all sorts of cheeky play. He'd rush a quick melee upgrade or a carapace upgrade and Ling flood SERRAL. And at a certain point, he was like, nah, you know what? People are like saying I'm just cheesing him. I'm just going to actually learn how to be better than him at his own game. And he obviously became just as good as SERRAL at the straight-up Roach game. He still has his own flair for it, but this sort of very just standard opening, Baneley Nest in the wall, add the Evo Chamber, then the Roach Horn, very mirrored right now. REYNOR can definitely hold his own against SERRAL in this gameplay, even though the first maybe 4 or 5 months of when he was learning this back in, what, 2019? 2018? I don't know what it was. About 2018, 2019. He looked a little sloppy at first and people were criticizing him. They're like, why are you trying to play Roaches versus SERRAL, the Roach God, dude? You should play mutas and do your gambles and do your tricky Ling styles. And REYNOR was like, no, dude, I think I'm the best. He's like, I'll show you guys. And he's done it before where he's absolutely destroyed SERRAL in the Roach game. He's shown that he can still do this cheeky muta swaps. But also we've noticed that since he started learning that, it's almost like there was a role reversal period where SERRAL started doing a lot more cheeky rushing to Mutalisk players himself, all this sort of thing. SERRAL's been very big on the Nidus worms against REYNOR. He almost always mixes one in a best of 5. I don't know how many times he does it on the ladder. You can see both players scouting the third bases of each other. The worker count's almost identical. No one's really done anything. They're both just trying to see, hey, are you making a big aggressive play? And you're going to notice SERRAL did build a lot more Zerglings, right? 12 Zerglings for safety, but they're all just hanging at home to deny scouting. Whereas REYNOR's sitting on like 4 Zerglings for most of this early game. He's building a few more now, and he does see lots of drones going to that third, so he should feel pretty safe. Both players' lair timing is almost identical. This is actually just silly. This is actually silly how active they both are at scouting each other. Check. Oh, yep, you're still building drones, therefore I'm safe. Yep. How about you? Yep, you still got your wall off blocked. REYNOR even had 2 Zerglings there. Okay, SERRAL does set off one of his Banelings. That's good. But this is about as this is honestly, yeah, there's a reason. Yeah, this is pure. Now, the reason, this is pure Virgin style. Now, for those who are wondering, why do we call it Virgin style? Obviously, these guys get laid all the time. No, we're not talking about that. Virgin is more to do with the fact that some people have more time to practice than others. Let's put it that way. Some people have so many active partners out there. They have so many social activities. They're just too Chad. So they have to cheese people, right? That's why there's the Chad gamer who goes for the low effort strategy. These guys, though, these guys are the best players in the world. And as a result, they have the time to practice the hardest style, which is, of course, this super reactive, teching up to the late game style. Now, 4th base goes down for both sides, identical timing. And oh man, there's so much respect. This is like watching two boxers circling each other and just waiting for the other to make a mess up or make a play so that they can counter them. But neither player, they're both waiting for the other one. So it's this kind of like, okay, is anything going to happen? It will soon. It has to happen soon. SERRAL gets a decent Baneling hit, sets off the other one. He's got relatively equal Zergling numbers, but doesn't want to take the fight as he's slightly more damaged. Overseers for both sides with speed are scouting through, and neither side's committed to Aspire. So they're both like, oh, okay, it's just a Roach game. Meanwhile, though, we do have a Roach drop for SERRAL. He's going to go for a Roach drop and an Overseer, so he's going to go for a Baneling drop. Okay, not a Roach drop. And a second Evo chamber goes down now for REYNOR. SERRAL's already got the second Evo, even hidden in the main base. But REYNOR's going to try and match that with the Carapace upgrades. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tunneling Claws in this game. And look at the vision on the map. So this is SERRAL's vision. And notice he's got all these little Overlord paths to make them hard to get hit by Biles. Same with REYNOR. And if you set up a multi-directional patrol path, it's very hard for them to anticipate where it's going to be. So both of them setting up pretty basic ones, just back and forwards, but on slightly little deviated paths, so those Biles won't hit so easily. Drop does morph up there for REYNOR. This minimap is just chaos, dude. Baneling drop goes right through the guts for SERRAL, but it's just sitting there right now. SERRAL, you got to send it in, bro. Undefended natural. Oh, he's just going to go for the 3rd base. Okay. SERRAL is on equal workers. They're both on similar Roach counts. SERRAL is coming forward with the Baneling drop. He's got a big Roach shove coming through the middle at the same time. REYNOR not reacting right now. And oh, he waits for the second 2 Banelings to get in there, but he did accidentally let it waddle towards the Queen. Slight mistake from SERRAL. Nonetheless, 12 workers for a couple Banelings. Well worth it. Awesome play. At the same time, REYNOR does a poo on SERRAL's Evo chamber. Does contaminate that. REYNOR also takes down an Overlord and a Spore Crawler. He built a Spore to deny future Overseer scouts. I love it. Really clever play. Infestation Pit goes down for REYNOR. Meanwhile, Burrow and Tunneling Claws. SERRAL committing more to the mid game. REYNOR is going to try to get to Hive from here, and he is bypassing the Roach part of the game. Lings run in. They're going to focus down a few of these. SERRAL with a very nice play. Right now, the Roach count is dead even, though. One more Ravager for REYNOR, one more Roach for SERRAL. Talk about a mirror matchup of the gods here. And you know what? I keep saying things are about to start happening. So far, they've taken a few light probing blows at each other with these Baneling drops. Another one going in here on the natural. Nothing huge yet, but I'm telling you, it's only a moment till fireworks hit. Army postures on the front. Bit of, oh, great spready there from SERRAL. REYNOR takes out only 3 or 4 drones with that one. Those drones have to go back to mining. He's keeping SERRAL very busy here, isn't he? Being a bit of a dickhead, and he's going to go for that center of the drones. Look at that, though. SERRAL, okay, loses a couple drones. Not too bad, though. I think that's totally fine. Meanwhile, Roaches have burrowed in. I don't even know when they got in there, but they're in there. Now, remember, REYNOR does have OV speed. He's got a Spore Crawler in the main as well, but these Roaches, they're going to try and get away from the Spore. The Overseer and the Roaches will chase him down. SERRAL's going to try and take advantage of this. Feels like he's got a lot of Roaches still at home, though. Roach drop for REYNOR answering at the top side. Oh, God, I don't know how I'm going to observe this. There's way too much going on right now. Big attack on the front is the most impactful. Big Biles landing for REYNOR, but SERRAL shoving in with the numbers advantage. In the back, he's got Roaches there and there. The Roach drop picks up and dodges. SERRAL burrowed his drones to avoid losing them to the Roach drop. SERRAL snipes the hatch, runs away. These drones, he's burrowed them to hide them. Roach drop continues. Tunneling Claw Roaches are still in REYNOR's 4th base, which REYNOR really desperately needs that because he did just lose his 3rd. Remember, Roaches are on top of this drop, but SERRAL, because he didn't invest in extra Queens or Spores, these drops are being very annoying. This is why putting just a few Spores around your base can be really nice way to limit the ability of this to pull you around. At the same time, of course, SERRAL did not rebuild his worker count. It's very common for REYNOR to play a bit higher drone count, a bit greedier than SERRAL, a bit more fast and loose. SERRAL, of course, even though he killed a base, staying lower on workers, he rebuilds 5, he's still down 2 workers. So SERRAL's trying to focus on having the bigger army, taking the better fights. REYNOR is going to have a bit more wiggle room as it goes on, but oh, great position for SERRAL. Both sides dodge the Biles. Nice focus fire. SERRAL focused a Ravager down there. And look at this. This 10 hit point Overlord is being such a dickhead. SERRAL's getting pulled around. Roach burrow dive goes in on the right, and they all get cleaned up. REYNOR, he's defending very well. Here we go. Banelings! But he Yeah, he gets a pretty good hit, He gets a pretty good hit there indeed. Biles are landing on SERRAL's army. REYNOR with a nice defensive engagement, but SERRAL's so good at focusing the Ravagers down. He keeps focusing those Ravagers. He grabs a little section of his Roaches, stutters them forward, and clicks the Ravager every single time. So REYNOR's always losing those valuable units. Units lost tab is, of course, in the favor of SERRAL by about 900 resources. But remember, he's down 11 workers. So the continued attacks upon the economy of SERRAL will allow REYNOR to get ahead if that continues long enough. Roach is trying to burrow there, but there's an Overseer on top of them. He's going to pick them up, put them in the Overlord, and just fly them past the defenses and then burrow them in the back door. Both sides are not on very high Ravager counts. We've got a few Roaches on the left posturing there for SERRAL. Roach drop kills the Queen, and she's going to float on up. Oh, very scenic. Oh, she shows her booty, spready to the gods there, and does end up going away. The Roach drop is going to head towards the main base right now. We've got Roach Ravager on that right side. Lurker Den's on the way. REYNOR has a hive, and he's got a Lurker Den on the way. That is big. Lurker Den's building for SERRAL, but he's also got the hive, actually. I didn't realize he got the hive up during this. SERRAL's got +3 Carapace on the way, though. Only +1 Carapace done. REYNOR has ignored his armor upgrades. SERRAL is way ahead on the upgrades with the armor. The Roach Ravager here going to lure REYNOR into a bad fight. REYNOR does land a few biles. SERRAL eats him, doesn't really mind. He lands a few on REYNOR in return. Roach is going to get behind that third base. 70 drones for REYNOR, 63 for SERRAL, and we are seeing an absolute duel of the best players in the game. Zerg vs Zerg can often be boring. REYNOR vs SERRAL is not that. It feels the most like watching a purely physical wrestling match. It's so much more sports-like, I think, than a lot of StarCraft matches, because you can really feel the two guys wrestling with the exact same toolkit. There is no complaints of Imba overpowered, that race one. It is pure raw skill. Who is the best with the exact same toolkit? And they are, of course, just so fast, and they've got that flair that each player playing to their own style. SERRAL, known as the Tunneling Claw god back in the day, used to never have to go past Roaches with Tunneling Claws because he'd always win with it. In this game, though, I think he's going to have to. He's down in workers. REYNOR's bank is starting to grow. I told you guys how he has the higher worker count. Guess what? It's now turning into a bank advantage. He's got a Viper on the way. SERRAL, though, also getting 2 Vipers of his own. Roaches on the left side are there. SERRAL's trying to defend, but he doesn't have any Roaches or Ravagers there. And he's going to go to the right. His 5th gets cancelled. I think SERRAL may have split his Roaches poorly. REYNOR could easily take this fight on the left side. Ah, he's got the Lurkers. That's why he felt confident doing this. The Lurkers have arrived, and SERRAL shuffles another Lurker over. Okay, well done, well done. 3 more Vipers are on the way for REYNOR right now. He should be gathering energy. The Viper sucking the hatchery, trying to take a few of its hit points, turning that into energy. And both of them are going for those Lurker upgrades. But 3-3 will be finishing, so still better upgrades for SERRAL. Now, the question has to be begged, though. When it's Roach versus Roach, yes, the Carapace upgrade advantage matters. But when the Lurkers are shooting, do they actually care about Carapace, guys? Lurkers do like 40 damage a hit splash. It's insane. Their anti-armor damage. I don't think they care too much about 1 or 2 extra armor points. So as good as the Carapace upgrades are, the longer this game goes, I don't know if it's the biggest deal, especially as REYNOR is slowly catching up on his upgrades. Lurker gets focused down on the right side. Nice moves by REYNOR. He's going to snipe that 5th hatchery, and he does get it. That's a kill, not a cancel. Burrowed Roach is coming in for SERRAL. He's being a bit of a cheeky dickhead as well. They both are constantly harassing each other. It's so hard to get your bases up in this scenario. And I think a good pullback by SERRAL. Doesn't want to just throw Roaches away. Remember, the units lost tab was in his favor earlier in this game, but it's now turned in REYNOR's favor. About 500 resources ahead there. Still neck and neck, but yeah, still small worker advantage for REYNOR, and he's got that big bank advantage as a result of it. Hydra's now coming out. Okay, a couple of Hydras. REYNOR's actually not invested in Hydra upgrades, so he's just going Roach, Lurker, Viper. Whereas SERRAL's already got the Hydras, which means he's actually got things that can shoot down the enemy Vipers after he deals with them. Now, watch out. I think REYNOR's looking for some abductees. Ooh, grabs a Lurker, takes it down. Some Roaches on the right side doing okay. Hydra's starting to clear up REYNOR's vision, though. I do like the Hydras, just pushing REYNOR's vision into the dark. Viper's coming forward, though. And remember, like I said, you can abduct SERRAL's Vipers. It doesn't do anything. Finally, REYNOR gets some Hydras forward, but they do not have Hydra upgrades. They're nowhere near as good at killing these as SERRAL's are. SERRAL does need to get rid of this last Overlord, but once that's gone, look at this. REYNOR's map vision. He's only really got this left side army. Very little on that right side. A few changelings, and that's about it. The Roach Ravager will try to run forward down there. These burrowed Roaches managed to kill a Spinecrawler. They're continuing to be very annoying. He's going to pick some up and drop inside the main. Those 2 Roaches will fight. They should be able to take down a Hydralisk before they go down. And the Roach drop into the main, already queued to unload up there. Roach Ravager runs in, finds REYNOR's Lurkers, and does take out a Spinecrawler. Does have to pull back there, does SERRAL. Viper, Lurker, Roach, Hydra, Skirmish on the left side of the map. A Blinding Cloud on either side would be devastating. SERRAL throws it down. REYNOR pulls back. SERRAL chases into his own Blinding Cloud. Not the best maneuver there. And his Hydras on the right side get caught as well. REYNOR starting to win on both sides of the map a little bit. The units lost time still about even between the two. Roach is in the back door though. SERRAL's getting some damage. He's tying up the worker count now. So REYNOR may have had the worker count, but finally SERRAL is going to be taking advantage of that. This Roach, a complete moron, keeps hitting the extractor instead of those drones. Finally, SERRAL shuffles that forward. I think it was on hold position. Hydras pop out, but Roach is happy to trade with those Hydralisks. The Hydras are, of course, very expensive units and nowhere near as tanky as the Roaches. SERRAL will try to get on out of there if he can with that single Roach. Meanwhile, pushing the left side with a squad of Roach Hydra. A lot of Hydras coming forward. Oh, it's going to be a Viper trade. But you know what? There's a lot more Vipers for REYNOR right now. Army on the right side is mostly Roaches. There's no Lurkers out. There's 3 Lurkers for REYNOR, bottom right. There's 2 Lurkers for SERRAL, also on the right side. So there's the Lurkers on the right. The rest is mostly Viper, Roach, Hydra. And at this point, finally, REYNOR remembers his Hydra upgrades. Dude, he has 11 Hydras out. About time he remembered that. Not a moment too soon. The Lurker, Roach sees the Lurkers. It dodges around here. SERRAL, and not quite ready with the ambush. Does damage those Lurkers, but not going to be able to defend them completely. And you can see SERRAL here. Oh, he's getting pushed in. REYNOR is just going to add Vipers over here and look for the abducts. He's like, dude, my Vipers can move between whichever army they want to give me the value. SERRAL, though, is not done. One Spine Crawler will not stop his Roach run by as he unburrows, 2 shots to the spine, and SERRAL is continuing to damage REYNOR's economy. The thing is, SERRAL's also been damaging his own economy. He's been building a lot more spines and spores and not replacing those drones. So even though SERRAL's been killing a lot of REYNOR's workers, his own worker count has also dropped. Now, you can say that's intentional because he wants more army. Oh, hold that thought. He gets the Lurkers. Nice Biles. There's one more Lurker that he does need to focus down. He gets it. Very well done. REYNOR looking for some big abducts. He's going to drop some Blinding Clouds, forces SERRAL to maneuver backwards. This is just so much multitasking. Lurker gets abducted. SERRAL abducting Viper into Spore Crawler. They both trade a Viper there. And remember, keeping an eye on the Viper's loss tab usually tells you who's winning in the long term, because gas ends up almost always being the limiting factor. Not always, but very often. SERRAL's more likely to run out of minerals actually than REYNOR, because SERRAL stays so low on drones. But the Viper count, 2 for 2 at the moment, and whoever loses more Vipers in the long term ends up trading way worse. Now you can see they're very cautious with their abducts, because if you go a bit too far forward, you get all your Vipers abducted into the Hydras, and you can kill 5-6 of those Vipers. 1,000 to 1,200 gas can be game-changing. SERRAL is posturing on the right side with his Lurker army. REYNOR has changelings everywhere. Actually, sorry, these are SERRAL's changelings, aren't they? Yes, they are. Okay. REYNOR only has some changelings over there. Looks like SERRAL has started to get some ground for himself. He's back up in the units lost, almost 1,000. REYNOR's going to expand down this left side of the map and try to control that. SERRAL taking the watchtower on the right, though. Well, REYNOR, watch out! Ooh. Those Lurker spines are brutal, but there's a Viper here. REYNOR's going to shove. Oh, a very ambitious play. Great Blinding Cloud. SERRAL a little slow to reposition, but the Lurkers on the bottom are tearing it up anyway, and REYNOR gets punched in the dick here. Actually, a good spready at the end of the fight, so he kills a couple of Lurkers, but just way too much stuff there for SERRAL. Unable to take that fight is REYNOR. I think SERRAL wants to just shove him now. There's so many Vipers here. Oh, the abduct is huge. The Vipers trade places, and every single one of REYNOR's goes down. Only a few of SERRAL's go down. SERRAL destroys REYNOR in that engagement, guys. He's lost 4, whereas there's 7 Vipers of REYNOR have gone down. And not only that, REYNOR he's got 1 Viper. Only 1 Viper with no energy. This is SERRAL's moment. SERRAL needs to shove and kill this base right now. There's no Lurkers here. SERRAL can kill him right now. SERRAL's being very cautious, but he just killed everything. SERRAL can shove. If SERRAL goes in right now, he can win this game. REYNOR's doing a desperate counterattack on the right side of the map. Anything to pull SERRAL's attention away from the fact that he has an easy kill on this base if he pushes in right now. REYNOR's Lurkers are going to finish. They're going to burrow. SERRAL's going to back off. SERRAL not taking that killer moment, not jumping on the opportunity. And guess what? His Hydras are getting jumped on by the Roaches here. With the reinforced, the Lurkers and the Blinding Clouds, he should be fine, and he will be able to defend it. But REYNOR doing a great job, and this is exactly REYNOR's strength. It's saying, I'm weak here, let's force you to fight and defend elsewhere. SERRAL's thing is, if he can force SERRAL on the defensive, REYNOR will always do well. I mean, he had no business keeping this hatchery alive. SERRAL could have pushed and killed both bases if he shoved in at least one of them. But now, guess what? You got 5 Vipers rebuilt. Remember, REYNOR had that bit of bank advantage. He's still got a lot of bank advantage. He's still up 6 workers as well. Still got this Roach Hydra army posturing on the right side. SERRAL has a bigger army, but it is REYNOR who's dictating the movement now with this squad. He needs to not run into the Lurkers. Just keep threatening. It's fascinating that Reynor's still using roaches at this stage of the game. You know, SERRAL is a bit more like me. He prefers to just go pure Hydra, Lurker, Viper. But Reynor, the roaches are expendable and tanky. And in small fights, like yes, in a big fight they suck, but in small fights, if you have a bunch of roaches spread out in your front line, they're actually such a cheap sponge. And I think Reynor just likes having these cheap units that he can run around with, make some more dangerous plays, and it's not as high risk because the roaches don't cost as much. That's why he's always mixing those roaches in. SERRAL, on the other hand, saying, no, let's just get the good units. Hydras, Vipers, Lurkers. And he's got so many more of them. He's up 7 Hydras, he's up 12 Lurkers, and he's up 2 Vipers. And yet it's Reynor that's picking off the base right now, isn't it? SERRAL has a much better army, but Reynor, his specialty is posturing forward and scaring a player who has a way better force. SERRAL finally realizes, wait, why am I getting bullied by this? Abduct's like 10 units into their death, but he's got to build Evo chambers and he's got to keep sucking energy off those with his Vipers. Remember that SERRAL does not have a big bank. Efficiency is the name of the game. Right now, he's up 500 resources. He wants to be further than that because Reynor has got the 6th base up. And SERRAL does not. Reynor also ahead, about 4,000 resources in the bank. That's going to make a very big difference there. And we've got Vipers, Lurkers coming on up. Hydras, Lurkers, Vipers on that right side. We've got Lurkers there burrowing on the tower. He's going to try and stall this out, but Abduct says no. SERRAL should be able to take these guys out. And, oh, no, 2 of those Lurkers escape. Still a big Roach Hydra force on the left side. SERRAL being very cautious right now. It feels like SERRAL's very afraid of getting surrounded. He doesn't want to jump forward and get surrounded, but I think Reynor's actually quite vulnerable in a lot of these scenarios. It's just that he's got such experience with making comebacks that SERRAL sometimes gets a bit cautious versus him. SERRAL is on mass Hydra right now. 42 Hydras. If he can just add 69 Lurkers to that, he will have the power of memes, and he may be able to win this game. Reynor does lose his 6th base. This squad of units doing really nice damage over there. Quite a few drones go down, actually. Reynor's down to just 41 right now, and it feels like both guys are waiting for the other to just shove in and present those units for the Abducts, for the Blinding Clouds, for those spells. Now, SERRAL's Vipers are not gathering energy, and this is a huge mistake for him. It means they've only got 1 Abduct on most of them. I think if he can just gather energy off a few of these buildings, his extractors that have mined out, that will really help him. I love that SERRAL's taking the bottom right base as well. Neither side really wants to commit to entrenching at a base because they just want to kind of safely mine a little bit here or there and see who can win the army versus army fights. It's all about the micro there. SERRAL gets the Lurker kill on the right side. He's got to feel happy with that one. His own bank building up, which is finally the first little bit of insurance that he's really had in this entire map so far. Oh, nice Abducts there, but it's a trade. 2 for 2, and actually no, Reynor loses 4 Vipers, and SERRAL's Vipers escape. Reynor's Hydras needed to shuffle forward and hold position there to make sure they focused down the Vipers. They were a little slow on that one. You can see 10 Vipers going down for Reynor, only 4 for SERRAL. And so SERRAL is winning the Viper war. He's playing a better Viper play than Reynor. Remember, SERRAL is way more patient, right? Reynor is just a raging bull who wants to get in there and fight. He wants to get the action up, keep the pace up. SERRAL's very happy to just chill and sponge up the aggression and slowly secure the map and win the game that way. And Reynor struggled against Dark when he played against that in Katowice. And SERRAL's channeling that dark, slow, patient play right now. The efficiency, 4,000 resources ahead now for SERRAL. He's been winning some fights, but the Vipers are here for Reynor. They're not here for SERRAL. SERRAL's like, crap, run. He loses a Lurker. Those 2 Hydras derp in and do die. Blinding Clouds on the left there for SERRAL, but it looks like Reynor kills 1 or 2 Lurkers, disengages. He's still got Ravagers in the mix as well. He's still building Roaches. Reynor's still building this much less gas-heavy, much cheaper, much tankier Roach unit. And if he can fight in enough areas at once where there's not many Lurkers, the Roaches can really be worth their weight in gold because they're just so much tankier than the Hydras. And I actually think there might really be something in this. A lot of players are like, why are you still building Roaches? I'm traditionally in the school of SERRAL on this one. But as these, I mean, SERRAL's winning the fights for sure, but that's more about the Viper control. As long as you have a good squad of Hydras, and Reynor has a 6 squad of Hydras, you should be able to do better in the Viper control. It's just if Reynor can win 1 Viper fight and stop getting pushed back. I mean, SERRAL's got both watchtowers. That's when we can see Reynor say, yes, I can do it with this Roach Hydra comp. But right now, Reynor is in trouble. SERRAL penetrates in towards his natural. Hydras, Lurkers running on in there. Oh, the Overseer's not in range of those Lurkers on the right side, but they are coming forward. And here we go. Nice Blinding Clouds and Abducts go forward. He's got to be careful, though. There's going to be a lot of units coming from the left there for Reynor. Reynor going into a big fight. Where's the Blinding Clouds for SERRAL? SERRAL did not have enough energy, and his Lurkers have been Blinding Clouded. Paris parasitic bombs all over everything. So many blinding clouds and abducts. REYNOR able to bust through. There's only one Lurker on that right side firing this whole time. A crazy fight. SERRAL at the same time runs a Lurker in on the left side. Hydra's run in there as well with a Lurker. I think that was really good for SERRAL, guys. Even though it was a big army trade, because he shoved in, he not only killed REYNOR's whole army, but he also got him down to 13 workers. And I'm telling you, patient, but one fierce shove. I told you that REYNOR looked weak there because he had nowhere near the Lurker count and his Vipers kept losing the Viper fights. SERRAL said your Vipers are on the top left, shoves in the natural, gets massive damage. And that was huge. SERRAL rebuilding, spends his whole bank. REYNOR spends his bank as well on Zerglings. He doesn't even have melee upgrades and he's building Zerglings. This is the most REYNOR thing to do ever. He is so desperate right now. But you know what? Bottom right only has a spine. If REYNOR knew about that bottom right base and sent the Lings there, he could clean it up right now. As it is, SERRAL has a much better income. Oh, Lings are going to go after the +3 armor Lurker. They're doing 1 damage a hit, guys. Oh my god, 200 Zergling hits to kill that Lurker. That is depressing. Holy crap. But you know what? REYNOR clears it up. The Lurker splash damage not very effective when it has been surrounded. SERRAL getting another abduct on another Lurker. Now, REYNOR had such a big bank that he's rebuilt an army. But it's an army. It's not a great army. He's down 2 Vipers. He's down 8 Lurkers. He's down 16 Hydralisks. And he's got 16 more Roaches, though. Pig. That's not a good unit. That's not a good unit. The Roaches, the supply looks kind of close, but it's a better army for SERRAL by far. If SERRAL can win the next fight, he should win the game, and he should win the next fight. It all comes down to spellcaster usage, of course. As always, Lings are going to go around for a bit of a desperate backstab, and that definitely buys a bit of hope. REYNOR does not want to fight in a bad position. Here we go, though. Nice blinding clouds for REYNOR. Parasitic bomb goes down, but SERRAL with the immediate split and spreads his units back. Pretty well done by both sides there. Can't really tell who won that fight. I see the supply getting ahead for SERRAL, but that's because he had more mining. REYNOR is going to go for a run by. There's 2 Lurkers, though. Oh, the 2 Lurkers easily going to defend that base. The Lings could go past. There's 4 spines there as well. The Hydra baiting. Oh my god, the Hydra baiting the Zerglings in and even burrows it. SERRAL pops the Hydra in the ground and says, nope, see, you don't want to be, you dickhead. This Lurker, on the other hand, is probably going to get killed by these Lings as it's not burrowed. But REYNOR's going to try and go around. He's trying to still do what he can. He's got gas mining. He's redroned to 32 drones. So he's got the top left and this base. Lings have just taken something down. The Lurker does burrow there. Looks like some blinding clouds to clear the static. Only a few minerals left on this base. Definitely not the most important base. REYNOR accidentally leaves a Lurker behind. SERRAL takes pity and says, go join your friends. These Zerglings coming forward. It's going to take them 45 hits to kill a single Hydralisk. Guys, swapping into unupgraded melee Zerglings against +3 carapace, anything, not a good move. Not a good move. I'm gonna put that out on a limb. I think REYNOR regrets this decision to spend his minerals on that. He didn't have gas, so what else could he really do? But nonetheless, not achieving very much. SERRAL doing some Lurker harass. Ooh! Actually getting some drones. Very nicely done. I do wonder what you guys think of if they added attack ground for Lurkers in the game, so you could aim like ahead of units to anticipate where they're dodging. I think that would be really fun in small fights. It might be a bit imber though, because it does make it harder to reward people dodging their shots. Now SERRAL's going for a cheeky run by here. He's trying to move up into the natural again. He wants to kill the tech. REYNOR's going to base trade it, though. REYNOR is happy to take the base trade opportunity, I believe. Okay, so SERRAL's going to split up his units. He's going to go in, finish off the tech, and pull home and clean up this army. This is a trap. I think it's a trap, REYNOR. And look at that Lurker on the high ground as well, but REYNOR can come back and deal with this army eventually. Here we go. Oh, REYNOR sets up a nice high ground. Blinding clouds, abducts, though. Oh, beautiful engage by SERRAL. As I said, it's a trap. You don't want to be in there against SERRAL in this position. And look at this. REYNOR does abduct the Lurkers. There's still one more Lurker up there, but REYNOR will clean this army up. And you know what? REYNOR escapes with most of his Roach Hydra. So REYNOR, I thought it was a trap where he'd lose his whole army. Seems like it's gone all right for him. SERRAL knows about the top left base. He's just got to send a single Lurker or Roach or Hydra. There we go. A few Roaches will go up there and he'll do it. He's now building Roaches as well as SERRAL, and that's because he's out of gas also. This base in the bottom right mining so well for him though. Roaches annihilating the drones up here. And I think SERRAL here, after 30 minutes of back and forth brawling, having a smaller economy but a more technical high tier army for most of this game, I think SERRAL is going to show that his way does win out. At least today, at least in this game. And I love it, just abducting any unit he can get his hands on. Now this Lurker, there's no detection for SERRAL down there. He's going to try and move a Spore Crawler. He's going to build a Spore Crawler next to him. In fact, Roaches do take out that top left base. SERRAL is going to retake this watchtower. And this is a really friggin' epic display of late game by SERRAL. What he's famous for from 2018, being the king of late game. Well, he's still got it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a beautiful, beautiful game. REYNOR taps out with the GG. And SERRAL, holy crap, what a game. Let's check that units lost tab. I called it earlier that the Vipers would be very important. And we did see that because of the early Hydra upgrades, I think, and having a few more Hydras, but also just being a bit more quick to land the Abducts, SERRAL did win that Viper trade a lot, right? 7 more Vipers killed than he lost. And REYNOR was doing a bit more fancy stuff, throwing parasitic bombs in there, but at the end, not quite enough. Huge worker kills as well. The Lurker ass was massive. What a fantastic game between these two champs. GG, well played.